Welcome to the channel. I'm Kay, here with your latest political news. With just 35 days left before Election Day, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are hitting the campaign trail pretty hard. This past weekend, Donald Trump was in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. And to say that Donald Trump's speeches were dark, unhinged, and just plain weird would be a complete understatement. Donald Trump started off his rally Saturday in Wisconsin. Let's go ahead and not waste any time. Let's go ahead and jump right into how he started off his rallies. Take a look.
Joe Biden became mentally impaired. Kamala was born that way. Okay. She was born that way. And if you think about it, only a mentally disabled person could have allowed this to happen to our country. Anybody would know this.
I really don't know where to start. I don't know where to begin with that. To call Joe Biden mentally disabled and then say Kamala Harris was born that way? Yeah. Let's move on to how he followed up with that when he was in Pennsylvania. Take a look.
You know, it'll end immediately. Crooked Joe Biden became mentally impaired, sad. But lying Kamala Harris, honestly, I believe she was born that way. There's something wrong with Kamala. And I just don't know what it is, but there is definitely something missing. And you know what? Everybody knows it.
No, everybody doesn't actually know it. You don't even believe what you're saying. And you're recycling material from one day to the next. Donald, oh Donald. There is obviously a reason why your venue sizes are shrinking and why people are actually walking out of said rallies. It's because you've lost the edge. It's not there anymore, and you're forcing it, trying to make a thing, and it's absolutely not working. But let's move on. In this next clip, this is funny to me because he is going on about Kamala Harris and Joe Biden being mentally impaired. But let's take a look at the next clip of what Donald Trump wants Joe Biden to do on his behalf. Take a look.
And, you know, Joe Biden ought to get up and say, you are threatening a candidate, a former president and a candidate. And if you do anything to him, it's okay. Look, it's a very dangerous business. But Biden ought to say, you do anything to him, we're going to blow you off the face of the earth. And then we're not going to have any problems. Right? But he can't say that. Other presidents would say that. He just can't probably get the words out. But I'll tell you what, if it were reversed, if I were president and somebody was threatening a president, even if I didn't like that person and he was from the opposite party, I would tell the threatening country, you do anything to him, we're going to blow you off the face of the earth. And nothing's going to happen. But we haven't had that happen, have we, Mike? We haven't had that happen, so it makes life a little bit more dangerous, but that's okay. We know what we got into.
So let me get this straight. You want the mentally impaired Joe Biden to threaten Iran for threatening you. That's what you're asking him to do. You said if it was anybody else that was threatening somebody, even if you didn't like them in your country, you would take action. Hold tight. You were the same president that threatened Zelensky about Joe Biden releasing information on him. You threatened to withhold aid from them. You threatened to hold money from them if they did not give you any material on Joe Biden and his son. What is good for me is not good for thee, Donald Trump. And I'm sure Joe Biden will not be threatening Iran on your behalf. There's that. So let's move on to a different clip. In this clip, I am not really sure what Donald Trump was talking about or what he was trying to say, but I will let you take a look and I'll be back on the other side and we'll discuss it. Take a look.
Was led into the United States by Kamala and her lax law. Every one of my killer. We had the great. He would have never been able to get in. She stopped every single one of them. She was the border czar. Now she doesn't admit that. Whether you call her a czar or not, she was no czar because she really wasn't a czar.
They would have never been able to get in. She stopped them. I'm not really sure what's going on in that clip or what Donald Trump was talking about, but that particular clip stood out to me because I'm like, what in the world is he talking about? But of course, with Donald Trump, you never know when the misfire is going to happen. It just does, and everybody is going like, okay, what is he talking about again? I'm not really sure. It had nothing to do with anything that he was discussing immigration. But this comment, I'm really not sure where he was going with it. I don't think he really knows. We're going to move on. So Donald Trump is running basically on fear-mongering in the immigration department. Now let's remember, Donald Trump's colleague in the Senate came up with an immigration bill. Donald Trump told them not to pass it, to completely tank it so that he would have something to run on. And they said, you know what? We're going to go with our Lord. We're going to do as he says, and that is that on that. So here's a clip of Donald Trump talking about immigration, and let me warn you, this is pretty dark. Take a look.
So they don't commit crimes like us. No. They make our criminals look like babies. These are stone cold killers. They'll walk into your kitchen. They'll cut your throat.
What? This is... How is this election close? How are the polls showing that this is a close race? Are we not listening to what he's... Okay. This is what we're doing. We are literally... I'm really... Y'all know, I'm trying to choose my words carefully because how it... Okay, you know what? I can't find the words right now. Walk into your kitchen. Where is this happening? Like, where's all this taking place? Are we missing something? Is the news not reporting on all of this? I mean, because if this is something that the public needs to be warned about, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, what are you guys doing? New York Times, why are you guys not reporting on this? Who is this happening to? This is so dark and so beneath the office of dog catcher at this point. Because these are things that are simply not happening. And he's just saying this and using this to stoke fear in people. So in this next clip, Donald Trump is calling for a day or an hour of violence to straighten this country up. I'm not really sure how that's going to work. But I will let you take a look at the clip. You be the judge, and I will be back on the other side to talk about it. Take a look.
But you'd see, originally you saw kids walk in with calculators. They were calculating. They didn't want to go over the $950. They're standing with calculators, adding it up. You know, these are smart people. They're not so stupid, but they have to be taught. Now, if you had one really violent day, like a guy like Mike Kelly, put him in charge, Congressman Kelly, put him in charge for one day. Mike, would you say, he's right here, he's a great congressman. Would you say, Mike, that if you were in charge, you would say, oh, please, don't touch them, let them rob your store. All these stores go out of business, right? They don't pay rent, then the city doesn't have money. It's a chain of events that's so bad. One rough hour, and I mean real rough, the word will get out, and it will end immediately. end immediately.
Donald Trump has the most ridiculous and bizarre ways to solve problems, like nuking hurricanes. I mean, injecting bleach, cleansing the body. Like, what? Who says, let's have a day of violence, like this is the purge, or an hour of violence where criminals can do whatever they want, police stand back and just let them do whatever they want for one day, and that'll solve the problem? The only problem with that is that this is not new. This is right straight from a dictator's playbook, because of course there will never be just 1 hour of violence. Donald Trump knows that. He knows exactly what he's saying. And this coming from somebody that wants to be president of the United States, why are we even taking him seriously? And we can see who is carrying the rally, because it was not being carried on Fox News or CNN or MSNBC. It was being carried on Newsmax. And that's for a very good reason. This is absolutely dangerous and absolutely ridiculous, because as we all know, if Donald Trump calls for something, most of the time his supporters hear that and some of them act accordingly. January 6th. And this next clip, Donald Trump, Mr. We're not gonna tax tips. Take a look at what he said about paying people for overtime. Take a look.
You know, it's going to lead to great things. A lot of people don't give. I know a lot about overtime. I'd hated to give overtime. I hated it. I'd get other people, I shouldn't say this, but I'd get other people in, I wouldn't pay. I hated. This is going to lead to a lot more. I think it's going to be economically positive, but I'm not even doing it for that reason. I'm doing it because like the no tax on overtime or something.
So the rumors were always true that Donald Trump did not pay people when they did work for him. He just confirmed that. To say that you hated paying people and you wouldn't pay them, admitting that out loud, that is a bold move, Cotton. That is, I mean, flexing on the fact that you stiff workers. And it is the silence of the audience that gave me a pause. And I think he tried to correct himself when he says, oh, I think that's going to be great. No. You just said the quiet part that everybody knew already. You said it out loud that you did not pay your workers. You hated paying them overtime. So most of the time you would stiff them. Great job, Donald. Donald Trump in this next clip discusses why he wants to get rid of the Department of Education. Take a look. It's everything you would expect it to be. Gosh.
You know, school choice is a very big deal. A lot of people don't know that, but it's a big deal. It'll be great. You know, I'm going to take the Department of Education, close it in Washington, let the states run their own education. Very important. Because we spend more money per pupil than any other nation in the world by far, and yet we're ranked at the bottom of every list. So, you know the expression, what the hell do you have to lose, right? I did that with our great, because they've been so supportive. I've gone up like a rocket ship. Our great, but they're being hurt very badly by the people pouring into our country. Our African American population, I said, well... No. Please leave black people out of this. No. The number one issue for black voters is education. I will say it one more time for the people in overflow. The number one issue for black voters is education. But we'll keep going. We will keep going. Said, well, you're last on crime. You're being devastated with inflation more than anybody else. You have the smallest percentage of home ownership. And I went through a list of 12 things. This was a long time ago, 2015 when I was running, even before. Actually, it wasn't a long time ago. Donald Trump literally did that same rally. I talked about it. He did that same pitch a couple months ago. And I believe he was... I want to say he might have been in Detroit, but this is not anything new. It is definitely not anything new. He has made this same pitch this year. and I was with a group, and I wasn't doing particularly well with them, and I'm going through this whole list of things. I mean, you're last in ownership, you're last in cash and having money in the bank, last in all these different categories. And I said, vote for me. What the hell do you have to lose? Remember that?
I am going to be very careful about the next words that come out of my mouth because my gosh. Okay. All right. We're really doing this. Donald Trump is not doing well with black voters. He's just not. And to say that you insulted black voters and asked them what the hell they had to lose. You were president for 4 years, and I will not even go there. That would be a completely different video. But to say that we're last in everything, and you're last in the polls. You are. You're last in the polls, and you're grasping at straws and insulting every race of people besides white people is... And sometimes he is insulting white people. They just don't realize that he's talking about that. And to get back to the original, why he would be getting rid of the Department of Education to let the states handle it. Where do you think the state gets some of their funding from? Federal funding for public education comes from where do you think that comes from, Donald? Do you think it just magically appears? Do you think that it just poof? The school has all the money and resources that they need. States are already strained. Public education is already strained. They cut funding for things like test scores and performances and enrollment. And sometimes federal funding helps them to get what they need to just stay in operation. And the fact that you were president before and are running to be president again, and this is something that you don't know, says that you probably should not be president again. I'm just saying. Let's move on. I'm just throwing this clip in here when Donald Trump talks about climate change because I think it's funny. He doesn't understand how anything works. I think he hears something and he just automatically tries to use his context clues to figure out what in the world this means. Take a look at this clip and we'll be back.
They think about global warming, which is now called climate change, because global warming doesn't work anymore, because it's actually cooling. It worked for a few seasons, but now it's not working. So climate change, a much better term because that covers everything. Warming.
Donald Trump, global warming doesn't work anymore, so we're going to call it climate change. Tell me how you don't know how any of this works without telling me you don't know how any of this works. Global warming doesn't work because it's actually cooling. What? Who's advising him on... Are they not preparing him and prepping him before he gets up for these speeches? Are they not telling him, look, this is what you're supposed to say? Do not say that they changed climate change or global warming to climate change because the earth is actually cooling, so they can't call it global warming anymore? What is it being cooled by, Donald? Fans? Or windmills? So in this last clip, I want you to take a look at what Donald Trump said about Kamala Harris if he does not win. Take a look.
No, this is a radical left lunatic we're dealing with. By the way, if she wins, it's not going to be so pleasant for me, but I don't care. I really don't.
That was interesting. And I pondered, like, why would he say that? And it's because Donald Trump knows that if he does not win this election, all the cases that were put on hold, all the cases that were paused because he's running for re-election, he's running for president of the United States, not re-election, he's running to be president of the United States again, will come flooding back in. There will be no delays. He can't say, I'm being prosecuted by my political opponent, which is the whole reason why he ran for president. He ran for president to do exactly what has happened. He wanted to get immunity. He has that. He wanted these cases to go away. They're not. They're simply being put on hold. And the minute the election is over, he will be sentenced in the New York hush money case. So he knows that if Kamala Harris wins this election, that all of the cases that stop, they will be full steam ahead. And he does not want to deal with that. So here are my final thoughts. I know that there are a lot of people, Democrats, that like to say, you know, Donald Trump is just trying to distract from the message. No, I think that ship has sailed. We can't simply say that he's trying to distract. Donald Trump is calling for violence. The rhetoric that he said over this past weekend is like nothing I've ever heard him say before. He's literally calling for violence. He's saying 1 day or 1 hour. He's telling you that immigrants are going to walk into your house and basically off you. Who speaks like that? In addition to that, he is othering people. He's categorizing people. He's telling every race or every different group that this group is going to do this to you. This group is taking your job. This group is taking away your resources. This group is coming to take you out. It's really, really unprecedented, and it's dangerous. And we can't simply ignore it because we think it's a distraction. Because honestly speaking, we don't know who this message is resonating with. You may have people, independent voters, that may take what he's saying as gospel. Like, he may know something that we don't. He may have heard something, or he may have seen something, or he may have been briefed on something that we don't know anything about. So you cannot simply ignore this and say that it's a distraction. You have to address it. And they have to address it by fact checking him and telling people that this is something that's not happening. And the mainstream media aren't doing us any type of favor when they try and translate to us what they think Donald Trump is trying to say, when clearly we can hear. We don't need anybody to translate what he's saying. We can hear what he's saying. We know what he means. He's been running for president since forever. And this is not anything new. It's the same rhetoric. He's just getting more bold about saying exactly what he wants to because he's desperate. He's slipping in the polls, and he can't believe that Kamala Harris is rising in the polls ahead of him. Anybody that is supposed to be the president over everyone should not be categorizing and othering people by race. It's wrong. And again, it's very dangerous. He is 78 years old. You said Joe Biden was too old. Donald Trump, find something else to do. Find something else to do. You got a lot of court cases that you need to sort through. You can do that. That is all I have. Oh, I think we're all needing to woosah from this election cycle. But it's not over yet. We still got over 30 days left to go. Make sure that you are registered to vote. That is all that I have. I am going to go touch some grass. Don't forget to sound off in the comments, like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.